People always say to me, Aaron, what do you think of the bike? Do you like the bike? Do you get to ride it much? And the answer is yes, I do like the bike. I like it a lot. And do I get to ride it much? I do, but not as much as I'd like. So I got this bike back in September 2018. So that's, what's that, about a year and a half, coming up on 2 years ago. Since then, I've put about 12,000 miles, 18,000 kilometers on this bike. I got it in the UK originally, imported it to Ireland, paid all the taxes and all that hullabaloo. And it's my daily driver. It's a fantastic bike. I have a car as well, but whenever it's good weather, or even when it's not good weather and I'm feeling a bit like something a bit more exciting, I take the bike out. Right now, it's definitely not looking great. It hasn't been used as much. It's been kind of neglected, God help me, because of coronavirus. So please don't judge me because there's a dirty bike in the video. It is a great bike, and I swear I do love this bike, despite what the appearances may tell you. Okay, so I got this bike. It's got about 50,000 miles on it now, coming up on that. As mentioned, I got it in the UK. Why do I like it? Well, I like it for a bunch of reasons. The main reason that I like it is because it's fun. People say the Deauville, they say Deauville, and they say all these mean things about these bikes. I think that people just haven't ridden them. I've gone out with people who've been on sports bikes, on cruisers, on scramblers. I have friends who have all kinds of motorbikes, and any of them, when they try this bike, they say it's the most comfortable bike they've ever ridden, and they say it's a lot faster than they expected it to be. I wanted a bike that I could do everything on, that was fun to ride on the weekends, that was I could take shopping home if I had to, that I can transport my work equipment around the country on. I have a job that involves a lot of traveling, or it did before coronavirus. Now I work from home. But the bike is fantastic for that. You've got this huge box here on the back. In this box you can fit 2 helmets side by side, or you can fit something like a 28-inch monitor, or this luggage bag here. You've also got, so you got the side panniers here, and any review of this bike of course will show you these panniers. They are great. Like, you know, there's nothing pretty about them, nothing sexy about them. No one says, oh, look at those panniers, but they are really, really practical. And you can put your hand right through if you've got any long items in there. So there's a good bit of space in here. This is well enough to fit a laptop bag, unless you've got a particularly large laptop, a projector, anything useful in there. People put camping equipment. I used to store the cover for the bike in here, so you can put these different things in there. Just a bit of a push to close it, but then once you get it closed, it's closed and it doesn't pop open. I'm totally comfortable putting a lot of load into this. As long as I hear that click, this is closed. Okay, what else? Storage areas, both the sides and the top, is waterproof. You also, at the front, you have this lockable little container here that I never really use, and then on the other side you have one that is kept unlocked, and this is the one where I put the disc lock in. And again, they're both waterproof too, although I wouldn't put anything valuable in there, you know. I put a disc lock in there to keep thieves away, which is the idea. I've got aftermarket heated grips. Originally I got the heated grips that didn't turn off when the bike turned off. That's the only time this bike ever left me stranded, was when I forgot to turn off my heated grips and the battery died. So since then I've gotten a better heated grip system, which turns off when the bike turns off. Again, if you're absent-minded, you may think, oh, I'm smart enough not to let that happen, but one day it'll happen to you, I guarantee you. Always pay extra to get the proper heated grips that turn off themselves. Okay, so what's the dash like? So I think the dash is really cool. I think it's like a car's dash, which you don't often get on a motorcycle. So you've got the fuel gauge over here. It's quite accurate. Generally I find get about 200-220 miles from a tank, depending on how aggressively you accelerate. I like to accelerate quite smoothly on this bike. Again, this bike isn't the bike people are going to get for high speeds. You can see I'm just coming up on 50,000 miles there. It's got a clock, really handy. It also, you can change the settings. Let me just go through it here. And you can, yeah, it shows you the trip. It also shows you your fuel consumption, so your liters of fuel per mile, which is an interesting stat to be able to see. And your average. So what am I getting? I'm getting an average of 11.8 miles per liter of fuel. So that's you know, that's me average driving. Again, I'm not a particularly fast driver, I'm not a particularly aggressive accelerator, so that's what you're going to get on this bike probably. The last owner cut this out. I presume it was because they had a heated grips that was controlled from here. Again, nothing I can do about that. Just one of the things that happens when you get a second-hand bike. And you can see, like this bike, it has signs of wear and tear. It has signs of age. But I don't mind because I love it, and I plan to have this bike on my deathbed. You know, it'll be in my garage and still going because I see no reason to ever get rid of a bike that's never let me down and doesn't show any signs of ever letting me down. It's just so reliable. Okay, what's it like to ride? It's very, very fun. I've taken this bike up to Glendalough a lot. You can have a great time through the twisties on a bike like this. I guess it's because it's got enough power, and even though it's got quite a large, heavy size, its centre of gravity is quite low. which allows you to kind of throw it into the corners. In terms of maintenance, you've got just this chain. Sorry, you've got no chain. You've got this shaft drive back here. So this shaft drive, you never actually have to oil that. Pillions always talk to me about how comfortable the bike is, especially people who've come from sports bikes where you have to hug the person on the front. This bike, you can hug the person on the front, just like any bike, of course, but you don't have to. You can lean back, holding onto these nice solid handrails, and you can lean back like you're in an armchair, and that's actually what the Pillions have told me is the most comfortable thing to do. I've even convinced my rather nervous partner to come out on the bike. She's quite, she gets cold, she gets, she's like, don't go too fast and all that, the usual girlfriend in the back of your motorbike situations, but she says it's quite comfortable, which is great. The ABS is very good. There was one time I had to do a very, very quick stop. I think it was a dog ran out in front of me as I was going through the mountains, and I had to stop suddenly, and all that happens is you hear this kind of clicking sound, and I think that's the sound of the ABS engaging, and the bike stops super fast. So I'm quite happy with the performance of the brake. Starts. See, there's no great excitement with the exhaust. It's very run-of-the-mill. It does what it needs to do. Give it a little rev there so you can hear it. But yeah, you won't get any all-rounder like this bike. Couldn't recommend it enough. Thanks very much.